What's going on, guys? So today I want to talk to you about carbohydrates because, as you guys know, I run a meal prep company with two of my other mates, and the chef was he was going through his MyFitnessPal the other day, and he was asking us he's having too many carbohydrates. He's like, how do I reduce my carbs? And I was like, why do you feel like you're having too many carbohydrates? He's like, oh, because I'm fat. And I was like, wait, what? What do you think carbohydrates? And it's funny because as someone who's in this industry, and the other two boys too, it's just something we already know this, but I forget how many people still think carbs are fattening. So I said, like, what makes you think that? He goes, oh, carbs make you fat. And I was like, no, they don't. So having to try and explain this to him, I want to just put it online too, so I can reiterate this. It's like, you guys need to understand that carbohydrates do not make you fat, all right? So first I want to explain to you something really simple about macronutrients. When you eat a macronutrient, which is carbohydrates, protein, fat, it is broken down in the body, okay? And then based on your caloric state, so whether you're in a calorie energy surplus, energy deficit, energy maintenance, the body is going to use those macronutrients for different things. If you are eating too much, it's going to go into storage. Now, when I say storage, fat gain, okay? When it goes into storage, it is not going to discriminate between what is carbohydrates, what is fat, between those two macronutrients. Protein can't be stored as body fat. It can be broken down through, different other ways. But at the end of the day, what's going to happen is that the excess protein is still going to be used, and then the extra calories from carbs and fats will be stored as body fat. However, for carbohydrates to be stored as body fat it can be done. It just takes more effort for the body to store as body fat. So what it's always going to do is when you're in an energy surplus, any fat you've eaten for the day, the body will just push that straight into body fat because there's no conversion from the macronutrient fat into body fat. Like fat can literally it's like a key in a lock. Fat fits straight into the lock. It's the key, it fits straight in there. Like it's just a smooth transition in there and it unlocks it, right? With carbohydrates, it's like a blank key and you have to get the key, what's that word that they say? Cut. You have to get the key cut, right? So it takes effort for the key to get cut to then fit into the lock. So what I'm trying to explain to you is like, it's easy for the body just to store fat straight as body fat versus having to store carbohydrates straight as body fat, right? Now, that's not to say fat is the bad guy either, because it's not. It's essential for hormone health, for for your sex hormones, for now I'm fucking having a blank on the top of my head of everything else. Cholesterol synthesis, bile, like a lot of things that the body does with fat, right? So we can't say fat is bad. We can't say carbohydrates is bad. And none of those are going to make you fat by themselves, because if you're not eating too many calories, they're not going to make you fat. Like you don't accumulate body fat out of thin air. You don't accumulate body fat because you're just eating too much carbohydrates or too much fat. You accumulate body fat because your body has so much energy that it needs to do something with it and store it. Okay? It's like, holy shit, we've got so much here. Let's just put it away for later. Let's just hoard it. Right? It's literally like a hoarder in a house. So let's say you start off with a 2-story house and it's empty. You're like, all right, there's plenty of space here. And then over time, you keep bringing more and more things home. And then over time, every day, you just bring one extra thing and the house slowly starts to fill up. And you're like, holy shit, this is starting to fill up. And then all of a sudden, you can't go in that fucking house anymore, right? The whole house is full. That's what happens with accumulating body fat, because you keep bringing more and more and more stuff into the house. When if you didn't bring anything into the house and you just had all your goods, the normal stuff you had, and if you were going in and out of the house without bringing anything else, you would just be able to keep that house as how it is. But every time you bring something else in, you slowly accumulate it over time. You're creating a surplus of items in the house, which is a surplus of body fat in the body. All right. So I just want to help you guys understand that it is not carbohydrates that's causing you fat. It is the overconsumption of calories. And if you want this as proof, if you go into a calorie deficit and you eat as many carbohydrates as you can, let's say you eat 20 grams of fat a day, you eat double your body weight in protein, and the rest come from carbohydrates, I can promise you'll lose body fat. I promise you that. All right. I can guarantee it so much that I'd bet my whole fucking career on it, because we have the data that shows that. It's not about the carbohydrates, it's about the overall calorie intake. All right? So if you guys have any questions about this, make sure you shoot me a message on Instagram at tysonthetrainerr with 2 R's. And if you know someone that thinks carbs make you fat, send them this video. Send them this podcast. Let them know that that is not the issue. And if they have any issues, tell them to send me a message on Instagram. All right? Until next time, my friends, I'll speak to you then.